Howdy mates who cherish fiction. You're likely here because you saw that my channel is currently at 600 subscribers, and to exalt such an achievement, I'll be doing something I already did, but putting a spin on it. You see, aside from my Switch, I have a PlayStation 4, and it's the Pro model, the bad baby who can hold up to approximately 1 terabyte. This is also the first time I actually owned a console made by Sony. While I have my fair share of starters, I will tell you of the first 12 games I got in the order I received them. Keep in mind, if you don't see your favorite game here, it's because I currently don't have it. Play has no limits, and neither do I, thus, we must begin now. Hey, I'm Owen, the Fiction Fanboy, and here's what's on my PS4. We got a boogie party coming on, as you must bust some moves in Just Dance 2020, 2021, and 2022. Surely you're all aware we get these games every year, and since they're all virtually the same, I decided to talk about the latest 3 in one slot. Something interesting to know is that the PS4 versions of Just Dance have the most controller options: PS Camera, Controller App, and PS Move. 2020 marks the 10th anniversary of the franchise, has an okayish song list with Reign Over Me, The Time Dirty Bit, Old Town Road Remix, and High Hopes, along with an all-star mode taking you to one song from every game upon release. 2021 has a slightly better soundtrack with Blinding Lights, Don't Start Now, Temperature, and Without Me. 2022 is my favorite of the bunch, with its most diverse dances, and you got Mood, Judas, Believer, and Chandelier. Let's not forget the unlimited subscription service full of exclusives and routines from previous games. If you want to exercise while jamming to the tunes, these may be for you, especially 2022. In order to have an adventure, going beyond the horizon is necessary, as in Horizon Zero Dawn. A few days before Breath of the Wild was released, Sony fans had been given this new IP where you play as a woman named Aloy, a hunter living in a land taken over by mechanical beasts. An important AR headpiece known as the Focus will help you on the journey in figuring out her origins and convince the other survivors of your worth in a contest called The Proving. Be sure you also stock up on potions and materials left by the enemies you have defeated, since all of those things have their importance. Oh, and when talking to the non-player characters, you can receive information, and what you get depends on the choices you make in the dialogue wheel. Whether this will end up being PlayStation's Zelda is up for debate, although it's not necessarily a clone, I will say that much. No matter what kind of bow and arrows you use, explore like the sun never sets. You feel a sense coming on? I do, as I see Marvel's Spider-Man swinging by. While Sony's Spider-Man movies have a mix of hits and misses, even if you count the ones in the MCU, they can make games based on the webhead exclusive to their gaming system. Peter Parker goes about his superhero life in Manhattan as he faces popular villains and also deals with his typical teenagehood. Granted, this game is meant to make the players feel like Spider-Man. You get to control Peter and Mary Jane along with Miles Morales, but there shall be more on him later. Aside from the main campaign, you got missions so you're kept on your toes, multiple costumes that can be unlocked or retrieved through updates, plenty of collectibles like old backpacks, and as a photographer for the Daily Bugle or not, you can take pictures of yourself and or the landmarks you come across when you web-sling from one building to another. Spider-Man is the biggest superhero for video games, and this game certainly strengthened the statement. There's a disturbance in the Force, though answering my call is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Launching a month before the controversial Rise of Skywalker, EA of all companies managed to make a great Star Wars game. Cal is a former Jedi Padawan who must go on a quest surpassing the 2nd and 9th Sisters, along with other formidable foes, leading up to facing the one who trained them, Darth Vader. He has a crew accompanying him and his own droid companion, BD-1, who follows him every step of the way. No matter how you customize your lightsaber, it must be used to show how much the Empire has underestimated you. Don't forget to meditate every once in a while at specific circles for resting, enhancing your skill tree, and travel to planets worth revisiting so you could reach areas you weren't able to in the past, yet you'll respawn enemies in the process. Why should a die-hard Star Wars fan only watch the films when games like this one can be just as thrilling, if not more so? Ever wanted to feel like you're virtually in the races? Then look no further than Formula 1 2019, 2020, and 2021. And here we have another franchise making yearly releases, and again, putting all of them in one slot to avoid talking about the same game thrice. There are multiple sponsors for you to choose from, whether they exist in the real world or take a shot at supporting a fictional company. You get to customize the parts of the celebrity's equipment you're racing as, so you can look your best on the track. You can go back in time a few seconds and avoid repeating mistakes you recently made. Once you are finished with the races, be sure you're giving the right kind of feedback, for it'll increase your likability and upgrade your vehicle when it's necessary. Oh, and get this. F1 2021 has a story mode set across all three of these games, with support being given to you through a variety of social media. Be sure your motors are running, because the tires must be anything but fragile. Raise your fists and weapons, since there is anything but peace between people in Injustice 2 Legendary Edition. Following the events of another game I'm not forgetting, Batman is trying to maintain peace in his universe from a Superman who's bloodthirsty for revenge and power, still unable to let go of what happened in the past. However, a bigger threat, Brainiac, arrives, collecting planets. Dissimilar to the story in its predecessor, some chapters allow you to choose characters for alternate paths, especially for the two huge endings. Aside from the story where that told a way better Batman v Superman tale than Batman v Superman, you can fight a human or computer player, find out each character's narrative in the arcade mode, and you unlock customizable parts through mother loot boxes. The visuals weren't the only thing improved upon, as the DLC had Starfire, Darkseid, Enchantress, Black Manta, Atom, Red Hood, Mortal Kombat characters Raiden and Sub-Zero, Boy, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Notwithstanding whether you're fighting for good or evil, you must show everyone what you're capable of. Did someone order a chaotic action-packed sandwich? Well, making the delivery is Dragon Ball FighterZ. The popular anime franchise has received many fighting games in different formats, though this one may be the king of them all. It's not your typical one against another deal, as you can have a party of up to 3 fighters and take down all of your opposing team members, with the two most brutal ways of doing so is with a destructive or dramatic finish. Want more to do? Take a look at this hub world and see your character along with everyone else in a fairly small size, as if they're collectible toys. There's even a story taking place between 2 arcs of the Super series with 3 different plots, and you better believe me when I say that it's messed up enough to make you crave for gallons of juice so you can process it much easier, or get quenched out, manga or not. Whatever the amount of power you have, find worthy challengers and may your key shine brightly. Use your magic carefully, with or without a precious lamp, as we are now at Shantae, Risky's Revenge Director's Cut. As the first sequel to Shantae, our half-magical girl must face Risky Boots again, who stole a lamp Mimic briefly presented at the Relic Hunters Expo. Using the few animal transformations there are, items, and your own hair, you'll have to confront the 3 barons, since they each hold a magic seal that is the source of power for the lamp. Something worth noting is, aside from the usual gems, you'll need to acquire a magic gem to purchase some materials. Also, this is the first game in the series where you're given a magic mode after beating the normal game where you trade defense for magic. Furthermore, this is the first time that you can get different end screens, all factoring in on how you finish as well as your speed of doing so, meaning you have to complete the game 4 times minimum to see them all. Are you up for danger? Don't let this be your turning point. Grab some cards and play them well, as it's easy to pick up and hard to put down Uno. Especially when there is a pandemic currently going on, you must find alternatives if you want to play a classic card game without causing sickness. Well, that's been taken care of a handful of years ago, especially on PS4 where you can play with a controller when alone or use the PlayLink app for up to 4 players. Not only is there the normal deck where you can make the rules, but themes based on Ubisoft properties are added through DLC, with the latest being Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Man, with that and Far Cry, this adaptation ain't for kids no more. In addition, 2021 was the 50th anniversary of Uno, with a deck for that too. These unique decks have special cards and other twists that truly change the experience. Whether it's for better or worse is up to your judgment, and maybe luck. Disregarding how wild you and everyone else is, don't ever forget this simple activity. Punching someone in the face is practically child's play, especially compared to what Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition has in store. Despite how badly Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe failed, this inspired the idea of making a Mortal Kombat game with DC characters as the roster. You may already know the premise here. Superman being tricked into killing Lois Lane and her pregnant son causes him to become a tyrant, stopping crimes from happening by killing those who oppose him. Along with the usual fights, there are mini-games, basically quick-time events, to give you an advantage depending on how you do. Other things you can do include the Star Lab missions dedicated to certain characters, the different types of marathon battles that will surely want to see how tough you are, and along with the various heroes and villains already in the selection, give or take the skins from alternate Earths. The DLC has Batgirl, Lobo, Zatanna, and Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Superpower scuffles can be settled should you believe you are willing to handle it. Hang on as a new savior approaches Sony's gaming devices, and he goes by the name of Spider-Man Miles Morales. We're aware this isn't the direct sequel to the first Spider-Man game, but plenty of us can handle the next best thing while we wait. With the main wall crawler out of the city during the holidays, Miles has to fill in for him, and just like Peter Parker, the Web wielder must also balance his secret responsibilities with the situations going on around him as a teenager. Being a whole different Spider-Man has its perks like powers such as invisibility and 2 types of electric blasts, with one harming enemies via an explosion and another tinkering with electronics and doing not quite as much damage to enemies. You are once again given multiple choices for what kind of costume you want to go around swinging in, and you still have some missions to do on the sidelines, although accessing them is done much differently. There's no denying that Miles can do Parker proud by doing things his own way. Before I unveil the last game on my PS4, here are some games where I played their demos of back at GameStop. Yes, these would be the games I have tried out. Additionally, I'll show you the games I look forward to, regardless if they're brand new and you need to get, or stuff that has released and are in people's hands other than mine at the time being. And at long last, we've reached the final game on my PS4, all about being heroes, and their goal has been accomplished. Applaud for Ratchet & Clank 2016. In case you don't already know, this game serves as a remake of the original PS2 title and is kind of a tie-in to the forgotten flick. Ratchet the Lombax itches for a spot in the Galactic Rangers, and although rejected at first, Defect Clank helped prove his worth, and the newly formed duo travel across the galaxy with the League using a set of weapons and gadgets to thwart Drek's diabolical plan of wiping out the planets with his deplanetizer. While this is mostly based on the first game, some mechanics from other installments have also come here so newcomers can get a small taste of practically the whole series. Ratchet may be who you play as most of the time, yet Clank has his own sections involving gadget bots. Let's not dismiss the Trespasser puzzles along with the sick hoverboard races, which are also compelling. I'd give this one a medal of approval, as calling it a new beginning is an understatement. It has power. Well, here we are at the end screen once more. Consider leaving a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment, and follow me on Instagram if you don't mind. Thank you very much for watching and getting my channel to 600 subscribers, and good night-o!